SEC. Do me a favor and hit the subscribe button as we wind down with Matt Campbell to Penn State. I've seen this said before. I don't mean to steal your thunder, but they did the worst job and came out with the best candidate they could have. So congratulations to Penn State for not showing up to class and still somehow acing the exam.
You know what pisses me off when people are like looking at Matt Campbell to say, well, did he win enough? Did he do enough at Iowa State? Have you guys ever looked into the history of Iowa State? Like, have you ever just sat down one evening and asked yourself, hey, what was Cyclone football like before the guy from Toledo came on in?
Or before you go on, or do you remember the report from like a year ago when Iowa State said, I don't know how we're going to keep the athletic program afloat because we have you have to look at the history. Do you just remember the report from a year ago where their AD came out and said, hey boys, we're broke. Like, if you don't want to look at the history, just look at that current status of the program.
I will go a step further. They had their top NIL departure, their top NIL guy leave the program. Wasn't running. He said, I'm out. So it's like, you have to remind yourself on what the story is with Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell, during his 10-year run as the head coach at Iowa State, put together an impressive resume of 72-55. Before he got there, I believe that they had 2 8-win seasons, just 2. He had them bowl eligible in every year except for 2016, his first season, and in 2022. Every year he delivered. He had them ranked inside the top 20 2 different times. He got them their first 9-win season, their first 10-win season, and their first 11-win season. And then, after dealing with a slew of injuries, countless players miss a lot of time, and a 4-game skid, they proceeded to rattle off wins and finish the year 8-4. And now he is going to have legit resources. He is going to have comparable competition. He is going to have kids that view a place like Penn State as a dream destination. Exceptional when it comes to recruiting after this year because they're 136. All at his disposal for the long-term future. Like, do you understand that when you say, oh, well, he didn't win enough? Like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Because if you can't say, oh, it's impossible to win in a place, yet he did it, and then say, oh, well, he didn't win enough. I mean, like, that's just where we are. And that's why, again, it was such an incomparable circus rat race to the finish line for Pat Kraft, and he somehow lucked into landing, in my opinion, the second best candidate that was always meant to go to Penn State. They needed to go after Kurt Cignetti. They tried their best to go after Kurt Cignetti. As soon as they got done with that, they said, you know what? We probably need to go turn to Matt Campbell. And they went with like 11 other dudes, and over $380 million were spent in extensions for other guys. And then they said, you know what? Let's give Matt Campbell a call. When it should have been the second phone call from the get-go.
I think it's a great hire. Matt Campbell's name got floated around when we hired Mike Norvell in Tallahassee. And a lot of people, you know how fans are. They look at Iowa State and they say, that's not good. But a lot of people were interested in that. And I think he's a great hire. Again, it's kind of like the committee. Sorry to bring you back to that. You did get the right answer, but your work sucked. Remember when your math teacher used to make you show your work on the test because she wanted to make sure you got to the right answer the right way? Well, the committee can't do that, and Penn State can't do that either, but somehow they aced the test by getting a good answer at the very end. I like the hire a lot. Now, I do wonder what the expectations are there for Penn State. I saw we had a Penn State guy in the chat. I wonder what their expectations are, because I don't think – I understand them having the expectation this year. We've had Tom on a lot. We'll get him to talk about this on Wednesday too. But I understand this year having a championship or bust mentality. That obviously didn't work out. I think you need to give him some runway and not have the insane expectations on him year after year after year. Because I think you need to understand what the landscape of college football is. I think Penn State should very consistently compete for the college football playoff and be in it more years than they're not. Is that going to be next year? Probably not. It's probably going to take a couple of years to build back up because of look at their recruiting class, look at the portal. We'll see what he can do. But I think the expectations may need to change. And I wonder what they truly are for the investment level that they're giving him. Because with a lot of money, Cole, comes a lot of expectations. All of these programs around the country that are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on football want their teams to be good. And NIL is added to that. Coaches' salaries have added to that. Rev sharing is added to that. That's always an interesting point of any hire, I think. We talked about it with Summerall. We talked about it. Obviously, Lane's expectations are through the roof. We talked about it with Golding. We talked about it with Auburn. Arkansas, who knows what the heck they're doing. Virginia Tech's way up there. I wonder what they are at Penn State. TBD, I guess.
I will say that regardless of what the expectations are, you have to give him a year. You just have to, because of this entire coaching search led to where he wasn't able to get onto campus to recruit. I mean, there are FCS programs that have a better recruiting class right now than Penn State. You're going to have to be really, really big in the transfer portal. You're going to have to really make sure that you attack when it comes to the right hires. You're going to have to put in a lot of attrition when it comes to building a good staff as a support group. But I think that they got a great candidate. I think they got a coach that knows how to win with less. I think they also got somebody who will guarantee find a way to be able to shoot above their usual level. It may just take a little bit longer than 2026. Like if you told me in 2028 we have a team that right now is rolling at the right moment and that they have a top 50, a top 20 recruiting class, and they're number 5 in the transfer portal, and they continuously hit when it comes to their overall metrics in terms of NIL funds, and that they actually are putting their money where their mouth is. This is going to be a very interesting team, I think, for the long haul. Very much so, because they got the right leader in the building. And I'll be also completely honest, I really do like Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State. I think that it was very nice to see that Iowa State did not panic. They had conversations. They had a good dialogue. They knew what direction they were going to go. And they were able to go ahead and land somebody that has had a really good defense over his tenure, whether that be at South Dakota State and then last season at Washington State. And everyone's going to look at Washington State and say they went 6-6. Look at who they played and then understand why they went 6-6.
Let me give Sleeper some love. Make sure you over on the Sleeper app, use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. We will play. It might be all Army Navy this week, Cole. We'll play the more or less game with Sleeper. If not, we'll do NFL games. Because I'm sure me and Tom will be great at that. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100 on the Sleeper app. We appreciate Sleeper. At a place like Penn State, with the investment level they're going to have, and again, who Cole and I think is the right guy, the right leader. I think most coaches get a year 0. Lane won't get a year 0, but most coaches do get a year 0. This is truly a year 0 situation with burning it to the ground and building it back up. But I do have confidence that Campbell will. So, hey, I stood for an hour while we did this. So the least you guys could do is hit the subscribe button or the like button, whatever, on your way out. Tune in. We do this. Maybe we're going to have to go to Sunday nights, Cole. The numbers are too good not to.
They're too damn good.
We'll figure it out. We'll see what you guys have going on. But we will be back on Wednesday live at noon Eastern time. And then, again, either next Sunday or Monday. We'll figure that out as Army Navy this week. Maybe we will. Let's actually preview it. Last year I did a preview for it. It was terrible. Nobody watched it, but I'll do it anyway. I don't care. We'll have the Heisman to talk about. Feels like it's Mendoza's based on the odds. Although this morning when I woke up, Notre Dame was minus 1,500 to make the playoffs. So,
hey, Diego Pavia was that last night before that throw at minus 110. So you never know what could happen.
Things crazy could happen. But appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in. We will talk to you soon here on the Power 2. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. And that's all for me. I don't have anything else.